Good wishes to all of you. An Introduction to Indian Art Part 1, Textbook in Fine Arts for Class 11. The fifth topic, later mural traditions. Even after Ajanta, very few sites with paintings have survived which provide valuable evidences to reconstruct the tradition of paintings. It may also be noted that the sculptures too were plastered and painted. The tradition of cave excavations continued further at many places where sculpting and painting were done simultaneously. Take a look at this illustration. Queen and attendants Badami. Badami. One such site is Badami in the state of Karnataka. Badami was the capital of the early Chalukya dynasty which ruled the region from 543 to 598 CE. With the decline of the Vakataka rule, the Chalukyas established their power in the Deccan. The Chalukya king Mangalesha patronized the excavation of the Badami caves. He was the younger son of the Chalukya king Pulakeshi I and the brother of Kirtivarman I. The inscription in cave number 4 mentions the date 578 to 579 CE, describes the beauty of the cave and includes the dedication of the image of Vishnu. Thus, it may be presumed that the cave was excavated in the same era and the patron records his Vaishnava affiliations. Therefore, the cave is popularly known as the Vishnu cave. Only a fragment of the painting has survived on the valued roof of the front mandapa. Paintings in this cave depict palace scenes. One shows Kirtivarman, the son of Pulakeshi I and the elder brother of Mangalesha, seated inside the place with his wife and feudatories watching a dance scene. Towards the corner of the panel are figures of Indra and his retinue. Stylistically speaking, the painting represents an extension of the tradition of mural painting from Ajanta to Badami in South India. The sinuously drawn lines, fluid forms, and compact compositions exemplify the proficiency and maturity the artists have had achieved in the 6th century CE. The gracefully drawn faces of the king and the queen remind us of the style of modeling in Ajanta. Their eye sockets are large, eyes are half closed, and lips are protruding. It is noteworthy to observe that the contours of different parts of the face create protruding structures of the face itself. Thus, with simple line treatment, artists could create volume. Murals under the Pallava, Pandava, and Chola kings. The tradition of painting extended further down south in Tamil Nadu in the preceding centuries with regional variations during the regimes of Pallava, Pandya and Chola dynasties. The Pallava kings who succeeded the Chalukya kings in parts of South India were also patrons of arts. Mahendravarma, one who ruled in the 7th century, was responsible for building temples at Panamalai, Mandakapattu and Kanchipuram. The inscription at Mandakapattu mentions Mahendravarman I with numerous titles such as Vichitra Chitta, curious minded. Take a look at these illustrations. Sitan Vasal, early Pandya period, 9th century CE. Take a look at this illustration. Devi, 7th century CE, Panamalai. Chitrakara Puli, tiger among artists. Chaityakari, temple builder, which shows his interest in art activities. The paintings in these temples too were done at his intuitive thought only fragments remain. The Panamalai figure of a female divinity is drawn gracefully. Paintings at the Kanchipuram temple were patronized by the Pallava king Rajasimha. Only traces of paintings remain now which depict Somaskanda. Faces are round and large. Lines are rhythmic with increased ornamentation when compared with the paintings of an early period. Depiction of torso still remains like the earlier sculpture tradition but is elongated. When the Pandyas came to power, they too patronized art. Tirumalayipuram caves and Jaina caves at Sitan Vasal are some of the surviving examples. A few fragmented layers of paintings can be seen in Tirumalayipuram. In Sitan Vasal, the paintings are visible on the ceilings of shrines in verandas and on the brackets. On the pillars of the veranda are seen dancing figures of celestial nymphs. The contours of figures are filmly drawn and painted in vermilion red on the lighter background. The body is rendered in yellow with subtle modeling, supple limbs expressions on the faces of dancers, rhythmic in their swaying movement, all speak of the artist's skill in creative imagination in visualizing the form in the architectural context. Their eyes are slightly elongated and at times protrude off of the face. This feature is observed in many subsequent paintings in the Deccan and South India. The tradition of building temples and embellishing them with carvings and paintings continued during the reign of the Chola kings who ruled over the region from the 9th to the 13th century. But it was in the 11th century when the Cholas reached their zenith of power that masterpieces of the Chola art and architecture began to appear. The temples of Brihadeshwara at Tanjavur, Gangaikonda Cholapuram and Darsuram in Tamil Nadu were built during the reigns of Rajaraja Chola, his son Rajendra Chola and Rajaraj Chola too, respectively. Though Chola paintings are seen in Nartamalai, the most important are those in Brihadishwara temple. The paintings were executed on the walls of the narrow spaces surrounding the shrine. Two layers of paintings were found when they were discovered. The upper layer was painted during the Nayak period in the 16th century thanks to the cleaning of the surface painting. Examples of the great tradition of painting during the Chola period were unveiled. The paintings show narrations and aspects related to Lord Shiva. Shiva in Kailash, Shiva as a Tripurantaka, Shiva as Nataraja, a portrait of the patron Rajaraja and his mentor Kurvar, dancing figures, etc. Vijayanagara murals. The paintings of Brihadishwara temple exemplify the stylistic maturity the artists evolved over the years. Synonymous predetermined flow of lines, supple modeling of figures, elongated of the zygonic features of human figures. All these represent the perfection the Chola artist had achieved during the period on the one hand and the phase of transition on the other. Take a look at this figure. Dakshinamurti Vijayanagar Lepakshi. Take a look at this picture. Ladies attending Parvati Vibhadra temple Lepakshi. With the decline of power of the Chola dynasty in the 13th century, the Vijayanagara dynasty 14th-16th centuries captured and brought under its control the region from Hampi to Trichy, with Hampi serving as its capital. Many paintings survive in a number of temples. The paintings at Tiruparakuranam near Trichy, done in the 14th century, represent the early phase of the Vijayanagara style in Hampi. The Virupaksha temple has paintings on the ceiling of its mandapa narrating events from dynastic history and episodes from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Among the important panels are the ones which show Vidyaranya, the spiritual teacher of Bukkaraya Harsha being carried in a plankin in a procession and the incarnations of Vishnu. The faces of the figures are shown in profile. With large frontal eyes, the figures have narrow waists. In Lepakshi near Hindupur, in present Andhra Pradesh, there are glorious examples of Vijayanagara paintings on the walls of the Shiva temple. In keeping with the tradition, the Vijayanagara painters evolved a pictorial language wherein the faces are shown in profile and figures and objects two-dimensionally lines become still but fluid. Compositions appear in rectilinear compartments. These stylistic conventions of the preceding centuries were adopted by artists in various centers in South India, as can be seen in the paintings of the Nayaka period. Paintings of the Nayaka dynasty in the 17th and 18th centuries are seen in Tirupara Kuram, sorry, Tirupara Kunram. Srirangam and Tiruvavur in Tamil Nadu in Tirupara Kundram paintings are found of two different periods of the 14th and the 17th century. Early paintings depict scenes from the life of Vardhaman Mahavira. The Nayaka paintings depict episodes from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana and also scenes from Krishna Leela. In Tiruvarur, there is a panel narrating the story of Muchkunda in Chidambaram. There are panels of paintings narrating stories related to Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva as Bhikshatana Murthy, Vishnu as Mohini, etc. In the Sri Krishna temple at Chengam in Arcot district, there are 60 panels narrating the story of the Ramayana, which represent the late phase of Nayaka paintings. The examples cited above suggest that Nayaka paintings were more or less or extension of the Vijayanagara styles with minor regional modifications and incorporations. The figures, mostly in profile, are set against a flat background. Male figures are shown slim waisted but with a less heavy abdomen as compared to those in Vijayanagara. The artist, as in the previous centuries and following traditions, has tried to infuse movement and make the space dynamic. The painting of Nataraja at Tiruvalanjuli is a good example. Kerala murals. Kerala painters during the period from the 16th to the 18th century evolved a pictorial language and technique of their own while discriminatively adopting certain stylistic elements from Nayaka and Vijayanagara schools. The painters evolved a language talking cues from contemporary traditions like Kathakali and Kalam Estutu, ritual floor painting of Kerala using vibrant and luminous colors representing human figures in three dimensionality. Take a look at this figure illustration. Venugopal, Sri Rama Temple, Tripariyar. Take a look at this illustration. Krishna playing flute accompanied by Gopikas, Krishna Temple, Pundarekapuram. Most of the paintings are seen on the walls of shrines and cloister walls of temples and some inside palaces. Thematically, too, paintings from Kerala stand apart. Most of the narrations are based on those episodes from Hindu mythology which were popular in Kerala. The artist seems to have derived source from oral traditions and local versions of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata for painted narration. More than 60 sites have been found with mural paintings which include three places: Dutch Palace in Kochi, Krishnapuram Palace in Kayamkulam and Padmanabhapuram Palace. Among the sites where one can see the mature pace of Kerala's mural painting tradition are Pundarikapuram Krishna Temple, Panyanak, sorry, Paniyanarakuvu, Tirukodithanam, Tripariyar Sri Rama Temple and Thrissur Vadakunathan Temple. Even today, we observe that mural painting on interior and exterior walls of houses in villages or havelis is prevalent in different parts of the country. These paintings are usually made by women either at the time of ceremonies or festivals or as a routine to clean and decorate the walls. Some of the traditional forms of murals are Pithoro in parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat, Mithila painting in northern Bihar's Mithila region, Varli paintings in Maharashtra, or simply paintings on the walls, be it in a village of Odisha or Bengal, Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh. Exercise. Question number 1. What are the main features of Badami cave paintings? Question number 2. Write an essay on Vijayanagara paintings. Question number 3. Describe the mural traditions of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Thank you.